Hey everyone, welcome back to Big Strong Book. I'm Reed, and today we're going to be going over Chapter 7 of Stone of Farewell, Spreading Fires. So this one is a little bit of a longer chapter, and we get mostly a perspective into Miriamel's point of view, but we also get some smaller sections with Tiamat and with Dukas Grimner. So Miriamel's storyline picks up her and Kadrak along with Lenti and I think another oarsman or somebody else. One of Lenti and this other guy that are with Kadrak and Miriamel. They are two of Count Strawway's, two of his men. And so they're going off to Nabin. They're kind of setting sail on this little boat, and it's not too far from the Peredrunese coast to the Nabani coast. It's not that far. But what this allows is for a lot of reflection. First of which is Miriamel goes directly at Kadrak, calls him a traitor. She says, "Do you think I'm a fool? I'm slow to realize, but I think long enough I get there. The Count called you Padraig, and he's not the first to call you by that name." And she kind of sets into him, and then Lenti comes in as well. And later on, as they continue to make their way towards Nabin, as Miriamel can see the hills rising in front of their boat, she gets an interesting perspective almost into both, in some ways, longing for the childhood that has been left behind for her, while also, the uncertainty of the future. And it says, thinking of Merrimond, "I could stand on the southern wall there," she thinks, "and watch the rivermen pushing up and down the Glenawent. From the western wall I could see the ocean. I was a princess, trapped by my position, yet I had everything I wanted. Now look at me. Now I'm free to adventure," she thought, "and I'm more a prisoner than ever. I go about in disguise, yet thanks to this traitorous monk, I am better announced than I ever was at court. People I hardly know deliver me from hand to hand like a favorite trinket, and Merrimond is lost to me forever, unless what? Unless my father changes? He will never change. He has destroyed Uncle Joshua, killed Joshua. Why should he ever turn back? Nothing will ever be as it was. The only hope of things getting better died with Nagelmund. All their plans, the old Rimmersman Yarnaga's legends, the talk of magical swords, and all the people who lived there, gone. And so what is left? Unless father changes or dies, I will be a fugitive forever. But he will never change, and if he dies, what is left of me, I'll die too." So they, pull ashore onto Nabin, and they're met with their new captor, Father Dinovan. Father Dinovan, of course, who knows Miriamel well, and they're on good terms, and she is so confused, and she says, "Have you come here to save me from the slave traders?" Because that is what Count Strawway kind of led her to believe. He led her to believe that they were going to be enslaved. And Dinovan laughs, and he says, "I am the slave trader, my lady." And that was his attempt at humor. And so they set off with Dinovan. And Dinovan recognizes Kadrak, and he says to himself, it's Padraig. And of course, Miriamel is caught in the middle of this because she and Kadrak have just come from Count Strawway, where he called him Padraig, and now Dinovan recognizes Kadrak as this Padraig person as well. And Dinovan tells Miriamel, "This is the first I knew about him being with you. I haven't seen him for years. Truth to tell, I thought he was dead." And they go to the Beacon Tower, which is their shelter for the night. And Dinevin makes sure she's heard about the fall of Naglamund, but she doesn't know who went with him. And Dinevin says, I do not know. There was terrible destruction and few survived. All the north is thick shot with rumors. It is hard to sift truth from them, but Joshua's escape is certain. The Lector Ranison commands me, of course, if you remember Ranison from the beginning of the Dragonbone Chair, and I'm sworn to him, but there are some things I don't even tell his sacredness. Which is as it should be. A great man's secretary must exercise discretion everywhere, even with the great man himself. But why did you have Count Strawway send me to you? I did not know how informed you were. I heard that you were bound for the St. Kellen Magistrovus to speak to your uncle Duke Leobardus. I could not let you go there. You know that Leobardus is dead, and Strawway told her that. But Strawway did not tell her that it was Benegaris who killed him. And she is like, tell me what's happening in Nabin, because you get this monumental geopolitical shift. Something else is going to be on Nabin. And so Father Dinevin sheds some light on what is going on, and he says, it is enough to say that people are unhappy, that the doom criers who once were scorned in the streets of Nabin are suddenly the subject of great attention. Mother Church is under siege. The people feel a shadow over them. Although they cannot name it, still it darkens their world. Leobardus' death, and your uncle was much beloved, Miriamel, has shaken his subjects. But it is rumor that truly frightens them, rumor of things worse than war in the north, worse than any contending of princes. And later on, she asks him, how do you know Cadrak? Tell me, about the Padrake you knew. And what Dinevin tells her, he says, we, as in himself and Padraig, were members of the same order, I suppose you would say. But something happened to Padraig. He fell away from us, and when I later heard tell of him, the stories were not good. It seemed that he had descended into very bad ways. He has not done right by you, Miriamel, but has not, I think, done entirely wrong either. Again, that's the middle road that Cadrak seems to walk. Who is he? He's this shadowy figure. He at first does good, but then wrongs people in the next instant. We don't know. And so later, that's pretty much it. But then Dinevin goes up to him and says, Padraig, do you recognize me? And then Cadrak says, I recognize you, Dinevin, but Padraig Ek Cranier is long dead. There's only Cadrak now. Then we jump south to Tiamat. Of course, we remember Tiamat. We've seen a little bit of the Ronaman in the Dragonbone Chair. And he's with a few elders. And the Ronamen, it says, were upset because Benegaris, the new master of Nabin, had demanded greater tithes of grain and jewels, as well as young sons from the houses of the Ron to come and serve on the holdings of Nabonai nobles. The elders wanted Tiamat to go and speak for them, to protest this further meddling by the Drylanders in the lives of the Ronamen. But of course, now, in Tiamat, of course, he's the most isolated out of pretty much every character in the story in terms of not knowing the news. So he realizes that his birds that he sends out to Ukakuk, to Morganus, they're returning. They were never sent. And now he worries because he says, he thinks, but I'm traveling to Nabin. I will not see any replies for 2 months or more. But again, he thinks back to what Dr. Morganus told him, that the time of the Conqueror Star, if certain dreadful things, it is said, are hinted at in the infamous last book of the priest Nisses. And he reads again kind of the Nabonai poem, which I won't repeat here because I think it was brought up quite a bit in Dragonbone Chair. But he decides to bring the manuscript with him. And so he has little to pack. And he gets a message, it says, from his wise friend in Nabon, which says, "The time has come, and you are sorely needed. Morganus cannot ask you, but I ask for him. Go to Quantipole, stay at the inn we have spoken of, and wait there until I can tell you more. Go there immediately, and do not stay. More than lives may depend on you." At the bottom was scribbled a drawing of the feather in a circle, the symbol of the League of the Scroll. And now he's conflicted because the League tells him to go to Quantipole. His elders tell him to go to Nabon. And so he reflects. It says that there was something to be said for the old ways. After all, if nothing else, they provided something to do at a time when the mind was weary and hurting. For a moment, he was even able to push aside the troubling thoughts of duty, feeling instead a strange sort of peace as he watched ink-daubed smoke take flight, rising slowly in the feverish gray sky. Soon, though the smoke was gone, the ashes were scattered across the green water. So Tiamat he's conflicted now. So we go back to Miriamel for a bit, but it's just more of her and Dinavin traveling. Then we go to Dukas Grimner, who then is at an inn and is relayed the stories of Nagleman's fall, and of course he doesn't know who all has escaped. And of course, somebody pulls a knife on him or says that they have a knife and tells them to come to his master. And of course, we know from the "I have a knife" that Isgrimner has been summoned to meet with Count Strawway. So finally, we go back again to Miriamel for, I believe, the last time here, as they make their way kind of onwards and into it says the walled town of Granis Sacrana. And they're initially not being let in, and Dinavin asks, "Is there plague here?" And he says, "I bear the seal of the Lector Ranison. Know then that we are the holy business of the San Kellanadonitis. Is there plague or what?" And he says, "It is the madmen in here. It is the fire dancers, the doom criers. The doom criers are in there." And Dinavin again says, we are not strangers in the Lector's secretary. I am in little danger of falling under the sway of these people's exhortations. So let us in that we may find shelter for the night. We have ridden long, we are tired." And so as they go in, the streets, it says, for a town that small, were surprisingly empty. But they reach the marketplace, and there's quite a significant crowd of like over 100 people. And they're saying, "Too late for repentance, too late. The dreams told us, the master's coming, the fire is coming," somebody cries. "Do not fear, you will be left out. The fires are coming for everyone, the fires and the ice that will bring the great change." And Dinavin says, "You blaspheme against our true ransomer, demon lover. You tell these people lies." "What is Osiris Aiden?" she screamed, "but a little wooden man on a little wooden tree. What are any of the kings and queens of men but apes raised far above their station? The master will throw down all that stands before him, and his majesty shall rise above all the ocean and lands of Ostenar. The storm king comes. He brings with him ice to freeze the heart, deafening thunder and cleansing fire." And Kadrak stares at the scene before them, and he is just in the stupor. They all are, because now they're realizing, oh my god, this movement that is taking on, that it clearly has followers. They're essentially a cult worshiping the Storm King. So that's where we leave chapter 7. So this latest chapter within Stone of Farewell, let me know what you guys think of it. Subscribe to the channel, comment below, leave a like, and as always, I will see you guys next time.